Returning to breaking news out of the Middle East now. Forensic tests have confirmed the identities of 3 bodies handed over by Hamas under the U.S. brokered peace deal. The remains of Eitan Levy, Tamir Nerodi, and Uriel Baruch were part of the latest return. A 4th body was handed over by Hamas, which Israel's military says does not match any of the hostages. A convoy of cars transferred all 4 bodies from Gaza City to a forensic center in Tel Aviv last night. Israel is now ramping up pressure on Hamas to return the remaining bodies. Of the 28, only 8 have been released. Frustrated by the slow return, Israel is threatening to further restrict humanitarian aid from moving into Gaza. Hamas has claimed that locating the bodies is proving difficult. CBC's Briar Stewart is tracking developments for us out of Jerusalem, and she joins us now with more on this. So, Briar, thank you for joining us. We're hoping that you can break down what we know about this latest hostage body handover, including this discovery of what is believed to be non-Israeli remains.
Well, that's right. The 4 bodies were returned last night via the Red Cross to Israel. And as you mentioned, 3 of them have been identified. But what Israeli officials are saying is that the 4th body, after testing at the Forensic National Institute, they discovered that it's not one of the hostages. So it's somebody who was killed in Gaza. And really, this is kind of just the latest in an ongoing issue regarding the exchanges and really just the growing tension and friction around this first part of the deal. Now, remember that as part of this deal, Hamas was supposed to return all of the hostages, living and dead, and there were 28 deceased hostages in Gaza. So now you have had 7 that have been returned, but there's growing anger at where the rest of them are. And for every Israeli hostage who is brought back, a deceased Israeli hostage, Israel has said that it would return the bodies of 15 Gazans. Now, even before this deal was signed and came into effect, Hamas, through its mediators, had said that there would be struggles finding all of the bodies because, of course, there's been over 2 years of war. You had heavy Israeli airstrikes, bombardment. You know, entire neighborhoods are flattened. So you can only imagine the issues with trying to locate some of these remains in some cases. But obviously for the Israeli families who are waiting for their loved ones to be returned, it's a very stressful, emotional time. I spoke with a woman, Ella Hamimi. She's a mother of 4 children, and her husband, Tal, was killed on October 7th, 2023. His body was taken to Gaza, and she talked about just the emotions, kind of the roller coaster of emotions as she's waiting for his body to be returned. And she does want to see Israel do everything it can to pressure Hamas to return them as fast as possible, including curtailing aid. Now, in terms of the situation in Gaza, particularly with security, we know that part of the deal, the next phase of the deal, Hamas is supposed to disarm, give up its weapons. You know, that's not happening. There's images of Hamas on the street, members of Hamas patrolling with weapons. And obviously, we've heard about clashes with local gangs and also public executions. Well, U.S. President Donald Trump was asked about just, what would happen? How can Hamas possibly disarm? Take a listen to what some of he had to say.
They will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. They know I'm not playing games, okay? Now, we did something monumental. We got the hostages back. That was the first thing we had to do. Above all else, get the hostages back. Now, they misrepresented because we were told they had 26, 24 of dead hostages, if we can use those terms. And it seems as though they don't have that.
Now, just back to his comments about Hamas disarming, it's not at all clear about how he would actually do that. The U.S. has said it would not send American troops on the ground in Gaza. There is a small contingent of about 200 Americans that have been stationed in Israel that are helping to monitor and support the ceasefire. But, I mean, Israel has been trying to demilitarize Hamas over the past 2 years, and we're at the point that we're at now.
And Briar, Israel is pressing Hamas to return the remaining slain hostages by limiting the flow of aid into Gaza. So tell us more about these restrictions.
Yeah, so under this deal, again, 600 aid trucks are supposed to come into Gaza every day. And that aid, as we know, is desperately needed given the very grave humanitarian situation on the ground there. And Israel had said last night that it was going to curtail that, only allow 300 trucks in. We know that there's a couple crossings that are operating, but the Rafah crossing between Egypt and Gaza is still closed. And there are conflicting reports around that. The statement that I got from Israeli officials this morning said they were not going to reopen that for aid at this point. Instead, they are going to reopen it soon, they said, to allow the kind of entry and exit of Gazans. I mean, this is predominantly for people who are in need of urgent medical care abroad. But really, the whole issue of aid is a major one because we know it's desperately needed. And this was a big part of the first phase of this deal. Aid agencies talked about the need to flood Gaza with aid. They said they did see an increase of trucks go in on Sunday, but over the last 2 days, they really haven't seen a substantial amount enter.
Okay, Briar, we do appreciate this. Thank you for your reporting. The CBC's Briar Stewart for us in Jerusalem.